have to speak to us the Chief Revenue Officer, CRO, from OnApp. Now, I've been told that normally his boss does this slot. His name is Ditlev, and he gets rave reviews. He can do 300 slides in 17 minutes. Now, that's a great KPI, but I don't think it's of much use to anybody. We want to understand what all this revenue management is all about. So I'm going to ask the CRO, Alistair Wildmann, to come and tell us more about it. Before I do, I want to remind you of one thing. CRO also has another meaning, Chief Rave Officer, because they are sponsoring the party tonight. So if you want to join us at the OnApp CRO Chief Rave Officer's personal party that he's funding himself, please be at the Colossus Hotel, and he will tell us at what time. So please welcome to the stage Mr. Alistair Wildmann, CRO of OnApp. Alistair.
Okay, well, thank you for coming to listen to me today. I know it's a difficult slot, going straight after lunch, but I'll try to keep you entertained. I'll try to give you some insightful information. I'll try not to overrun, and I will not do 300 slides in 17 minutes. Okay. And as David said, this is normally, if you were a regular to World Hosting Day, you'd expect to see someone very different stood here today. There's normally a smaller guy with no hair called Ditlev Bredal, who's my CEO. But unfortunately, Ditlev couldn't be here this week, so I'm here instead. So there's two things. First of all, I'm not Ditlev, and secondly, there's going to be no Lego today. That's okay. So if you want to get your Lego, over and done with, unfortunately, you'll have no Lego today. Sorry about that. But what we will have today, though, is a little bit more of an insight into where we are going on OnApp, what we're seeing in the marketplace, and a little bit about the trends and consolidations. But before we go into that, let me just give you a little quick overview of myself. So I'm actually not one of you guys. I've not got 20 years of pedigree in the hosting industry. I've actually come from software. I did 10 years at Microsoft, 4 years at Salesforce, 2 years at VMware, and then I've landed at OnApp a couple of years ago. And my job is revenue, so this is going to be a sales presentation. I apologize in advance, but my job is to make sure that OnApp keeps growing and is still a great company. But with that, though, a little bit about who we are today. So if you know World Hosting Day, you'll have seen OnApp. We're typically one of the central stands in the middle of the main auditorium. It's our 7th year at World Hosting Day, so we've been doing this for 7 years, and the keynote as well. We're a cloud platform. We provide software and service to enable the cloud across the spectrum of the industry. We do it from bare bones servers, across DevOps, to service providers, cloud service providers, and right through to enterprise. We've been in business for about 7 years, and I'll talk a little bit more about our software and our services later. But for now, let's really think about what we want to talk about today. So what I really want to talk about today is what is going on. Is it game over? What is going on? You see the news headlines, we see the consolidation effects. So that's what we really want to talk today is how do we feel about the industry? What are you guys seeing out there? What are you talking to us on the stands? What's the gossip? What's the feedback? And the reason we want to talk about what's going on is that we're seeing two really big trends right now in the industry. The first trend is definitely consolidation. I mean, we have over 3,500, 4,000 customers at OnApp, who are all service providers, well, pretty much all service providers. We have some enterprise, but mainly service providers. And on a weekly basis now, we see customers acquiring each other. And not just some of the small guys. There's been some absolutely massive acquisitions recently. I mean, right here in Germany, United Internet bought Strato from Deutsche Telekom for 600 million euros. I mean, as you know, United Internet have got 17 million customers. That was a big acquisition. And then, just before Christmas, GoDaddy agreed to buy Host Europe Group, our hosts. One of the biggest deals we've seen, a $1.79 billion deal. That's a huge, huge acquisition. And then finally, Apollo took Rackspace private in the summer, $4.3 billion deal. Again, these are huge, huge areas of consolidation. So why is the market consolidating? Why are we seeing these really big deals? If you have to take a little bit of a look at the press release that have come out, they all seem to have the same enduring factor. If you look at what we see here, and it's all about one thing. It's all about the competition. Now, we've stood on this stage, well, actually a different stage in the other room, for the last 7 years, and we've talked about what was going on in the marketplace. And my boss, Ditlev, has stood here with his Lego, and you've all seen the Darth Vader Lego, yeah? And we talked about one company, whose name we shall not, a bit like Voldemort. But these guys are growing, and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the big question for today is, what do we do? I mean, what is going to happen? I mean, we can talk about some really big numbers. I think their last revenue for 2016 was $12.2 billion. I mean, these are really big numbers. But what is the real challenge here? Is it just the revenue? Or is it something else? See, we're not too sure it's just all about the dollar value. We actually think the really scary thing and the great thing about Amazon is the fact that these guys can really, really move quickly. They are launching services and features and functionality into the marketplace. They launched 5 new regions in 2016, and every region has 2 data centers. They've now got 2 million servers. So what does that mean to everybody here, though? And it's not just about Amazon. No. You have to watch out. Azure, $2.5 billion of business last year in 2016 on the Microsoft platform. And Google Compute Engine, they did $800 million. And again, these are all like probably 100% growth year over year. So, my friends, it's a really big question. Is winter coming? I mean, what else can we look at? I mean, who else has been playing in the public cloud space recently? Exactly. We've seen VMware. Apologies for any friends in the audience from any of these brand names. But, you know, a number of some of the biggest competitors and partners in the industry have tried to do big public clouds over the last couple of years. And again, we've seen that they've not all been as successful as they thought they would have been. So maybe they've not quite failed. Some of them have moved to a more partnership model. But generally, they've definitely changed the landscape. So, has winter come? And what? So what are you going to do about this? I mean, this is your industry. I mean, what do you guys think about when you look at the statistics in the marketplace? You know, how are you going to respond? Are you just going to ignore it all? Typical blah, blah, blah. It's not happening. You know, Amazon's a dark lord. We've been saying this for 5 or 6 years. Yeah, but they'll pass us by. We're in Belarus. It's not going to affect us in Belarus. Well, eventually they'll be in Belarus. They'll be in every location, I'm sure. And it's not just us that are saying this. The media are saying it. The analysts are saying it. Is it just blah, blah, blah? Or you could just completely deny it and keep doing exactly the same thing that you've been doing for the last 5 years, 10 years, since you started great hosting companies. But that is really difficult. And I'll tell you why it's difficult. Because you can also be focused on the wrong things. And it is very possible to focus on the wrong things. And there's such a thing as too much geek in this industry. And there's a lot of very technical people in the audience. I apologize in advance. But we do see it. We see people that really are focusing on, having these incredible clouds or really technical specifications. But I'm not too sure that's exactly what the customers are wanting or where the market's going. So, is it game over? Should we all pack our bags? Should we give up? You see, we don't think so. And we really don't think so, because when we talk to our customers, and we talk to them on a daily basis, we have, a huge number of service providers use OnApp today. We'll talk about some statistics later. But let me just give you a flavor of a few of the big guys. So, NextGen, they're in the Indian market. They've gone from 0 to 7 data centers in the first year, and they've actually taken Amazon out of the market. They did an incredible job there. They are the fastest growing provider in India, and Amazon will not enter that market now because of NextGen. They've had to put their plans on hold. You look at the guys at Dediserve. Since they launched that cloud business, they grew it by 1 million euros in the first year. That's 20,000 euros a week revenue within 1 year. And finally, Mr. Chan, he's in the room. I thought he was here. The guys at Exabytes. Exabytes are in Asia. They've gone from 0 to 14 different countries in 6 years. And they're not the only people. There's lots and lots and lots of great companies out there who are doing hosting, shared hosting, cloud hosting, managed service providers. And here's just a few of them. I apologize if your logo's not here and you're an OnApp customer. I just couldn't put everyone's logo on here. But we're seeing it, and we're seeing growth. So the big, big question really is, how are they growing? What is their strategy? And we think there are 3 key areas that all the hosted, anyone in the service provider industry should really be thinking about. So first of all, we think you need to sell everything. So what does that really mean? Does that mean you have to go and match Amazon's huge range of services and go global? Is that the obvious thing? No. We actually don't believe that you should be doing that. When I say you should sell everything, we think there's a different way to do it. So when I say sell everything, think of the services that make sense for your industry. Think, know your customers. Understand their workloads. Don't follow the competition. Design it for your niche. Do things that are right for your market, for your localization, for your jurisdiction, wherever you may be. It's not just about selling everything. It's about selling things that make sense. And of course, we have different clients who are at different ends of the market. If you're in the shared hosting world, there's a whole bunch of services there that are very specific to shared hosting. If you're a cloud service provider, or you're offering offering managed services at the top end, again, these are very, very different ways to go to market. And finally, if you're a telco, and you're wrapping hosting services into a bundle of services you offer to your customers. Last year, OnApp ran a very large survey. Did anyone see the keynote last year? You put your hand up? A few people? Okay. So last year, we actually did a survey where we actually sent a survey out to 55,000 service providers. Okay, that's our database. And we got back a huge response. And what I thought was really, really interesting was the kind of drive. So when we looked at the service providers, we asked them a number of different questions. And one of the key questions is, are they successful? And to be successful, they had to be growing revenue. Okay? And then we were able to basically take down our results and funnel it into some real statistics. In 2016, for those successful service providers to evolve, when we asked them the set of products that they were selling in the market last year, you can see on the left-hand side, VPS was obviously the 82%, as you'd expect, dedicated servers, managed service, etc. And then obviously CDN was the bottom. But when we asked those same successful customers, what were the services they planned to sell in 2017? What we saw was that they actually started to plan to sell an additional range of services. And again, SaaS and PaaS at 46%. So that's 46% of the successful customers. And what that's told us, and through our conversations, is that it's not always about standing still. So we truly believe that you need to basically move and change the times. And as you take products to market and services to market, you need to keep innovating and sell everything from the platform. Second, and this is a really big theme we've seen this year a lot, is consolidate. And consolidate as much as you can do. I think that the idea of best of breed is now going out of fashion. It's crazy to have multiple platforms that all do the same thing within your enterprise. You need to start to think about the consolidation effect. I mean, this is not rocket science. But as you start to build out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cloud platforms, the cost of admin of those platforms and the cost of complexity, I mean, your customers don't actually really care. So if you want to be, it's common sense. If you want a single pane of glass and not obviously on the right-hand side, you need to run fewer platforms. You need to consolidate down. And why is that? Because it's more efficient. It's easier to upsell customers, and it's easier to cross-sell when they're on the same platform. And again, if we go back to our survey from last year, what was interesting again is, as we looked at that 55,000 block of service providers, and we took down the questionnaire into the significant funnels, and we asked them, the most successful service providers, and those are the guys that were identifying growth, who were consolidating. 62% of them were down to 2 platforms, 27% on 3, and 7% on 4. And again, this is such a big factor in the industry right now. If you're running multiple platforms, at the end of the day, it is going to hit you in terms of cost. And right now, it's getting very, very competitive out there. So again, so where does that leave us now? So sell everything, consolidate as much as you can, and of course, the third thing is do it with OnApp. Why is that? Well, we're here. And most people, I think, know who OnApp is. So if anyone in the audience doesn't know us, we've been around for 7 years. We're not a cloud provider. We're not an MSP or a telco or a host. We just focus on the tools you need to go into the marketplace and compete. You're actually going to see a lot more from us. We help you compete against the Amazons, the Googles, the Azures. But we always describe OnApp as a cloud platform. But for me, it isn't really a cloud platform. I see OnApp as the ERP system that powers your business. And what we've been doing, we support multiple hypervisors, multiple product lines. We've also been very busy. Since September, we've added containers. We've added service add-ons. We did HTTPS Accelerator. We've got new vCloud Director billing types. We increased our federation tiers. We added VS Gateways, something that has been asked for years. We do database as a service, email as a service, and we've now finally got OVA migrations, which means it's easier to migrate into our platform, plus hundreds and hundreds of enhancements from our team. So there's lots of new go-to-market features, and it's not just about improving and fixing our products. We're also looking to make sure that we can bring things to the market that you guys can take and make money from. But what else? And this is where it gets really interesting. Why do so many of our customers stop at public cloud? Literally, we've got, I think, last count, 1,100 public clouds built on our platform. There's around about 3,000 public clouds available in the marketplace today. That means around a third of all the public clouds today are built on OnApp, okay? The statistics. 100,000 physical servers, we've got about 1 million virtual machines. These are all they're on our website, you'll see it. So we do know this market. But what surprises me, particularly as we talk more and more to the enterprise, is just how many people are stopping at the public cloud and not moving further forward. And if you look at any of the statistics that we see in the marketplace today, and there's a couple of decent surveys here, the opportunity is not just stopping at the public cloud. The opportunity today, tomorrow, next year is private cloud. And absolutely, if you think about enterprise workloads, 43% of enterprise workloads sit perfectly on a private cloud solution. And if you look at the IDC report on the right-hand side, you can see at the total addressable spend, the amount of money spent on data centers in the enterprise will reduce from around about 60% down to about 50%. Public cloud will keep on growing. We totally expect the infrastructure as a service, platform as a service to keep growing, but private cloud will double in the next 5 years. And that, my friends, is the opportunity that we need to go after today, because your customers are doing it. And if you don't do it, somebody else will. But isn't 80% of this market already owned by somebody else? That is true. There are some very, very, very strong, fantastic software companies who offer private cloud solutions today. There's probably two big options for us that we see for private cloud. So first of all, we've got the open source momentum brigade. So the technology is pretty much free, but you need an army of people to develop it. And it takes a long time. And it is complicated. And there's been some success, but there's been a lot of failures in terms of how people build out private clouds. That's one option. Second option is you can buy software that's readily available in the marketplace today from fantastic software companies. But that software tends to be quite expensive and perpetually licensed if you're an enterprise. And then you need to have some professional services to help to build that private cloud. And again, it can be expensive and it can take a long time. So I think where the big shift needs to come is when we look at the industry itself and think about what they need to do. So what do enterprises tell us? What do we see in the marketplace today? So everybody loves the idea of public cloud. It's straightforward, it's simple, it's fast. So we need a public cloud approach to a private cloud problem. And it's not just about the big wallets. It is any company with infrastructure. We talk to our customers, and we know customers, and we'll talk about in a second, who are doing great business in public and private cloud. But in the private cloud, it's interesting because more and more companies want to move to private cloud solutions. And we know what? We know 650 amazing OnApp customers who are out there today who are doing public cloud. And there's no reason why. To us, it's just cloud. It's the same technology. We've built the cloud for the public consumption. It's exactly the same technology used for private consumption. And there's thousands of OnApp cloud experts in the marketplace today. And you've got the expertise. You already know your customers. You know the workloads. You know what they're doing. You can deliver as much an effective on-premise private cloud as you can do in the public cloud. So where are we going with this? What is your next big opportunity? So if you're providing a managed cloud today, you're providing the virtual private clouds, the virtual data centers. It's an evolution to move to on-premise private cloud. And that's why I'm really pleased to announce that we've been working with one of the biggest hardware manufacturers, one of our great partners, to actually build and release a set of infrastructure hardware that is specifically built for OnApp private cloud. And as you'll see it today, we've been working with Intel on a specific range called the Bobcat Peak. This is a system with 4 servers, but it's priced exactly for your market. It's sub $20,000 into the marketplace for the hardware, and it's certified to run OnApp private cloud. So again, if you're interested and you want to talk about it, please come to our booth or look at our website. But the whole point here is that our cloud is turnkey. It's low cost. It's intuitive, and it's simple. And the skills are here in the room. You guys know what you're doing. This is the big opportunity. So as a cloud provider, you can extend your service portfolio, and you can do more things that we've been talking about: utility cloud, managed cloud, CDN, containers, etc. And there's new options for on-premise cloud. And again, one of the interesting things we're seeing right now is, you've built this fantastic enterprise-specific version of OnApp. So we've built it for you. Got your public cloud. By putting in the private cloud, you can then do the DR back to yourself as well. So not only can you look after your customers on the private cloud, you've got the public cloud solution, you've also got the disaster recovery and backup, and it's all OnApp to OnApp. There's a huge opportunity here, and we want to make sure that the marketplace exploits it. And why is that? Because there's opportunity in every one of these areas, and our customers are uniquely placed to go and exploit that opportunity. So I just want to talk about 2 or 3 examples of great OnApp customers that have already embraced, and some of the statistics that they've given back to us that I'd like to share with you today. So they're not here today because they're based in Australia, but Flukes is an Australian cloud company. And they started off life doing VPS, shared hosting, and then they went into public cloud. What was really interesting when I was chatting to the team at Flux was that they saw it as a complementary set of services. But they actually make 4 times more revenue from private cloud than they do public cloud. The same applications. And they also provide much better service for their clients. So again, these guys are growing really quickly. But it's 4 times more revenue from the private cloud as they do from public cloud because it's less competitive. There are less people doing it, and it's less easy to price check against other people. Another fantastic company, and maybe Mario's in the room. Are you here, Mario? No, just checking. Unbelievable Machines, based in Germany. These guys are fantastic. So they don't actually do public cloud. They are private cloud experts into the financial services. And what's really interesting here is that they grew their revenue so significantly. We've actually seen them double in the past 2 years in terms of revenue from taking private cloud into some of the largest German financial services customers there are. And again, if you look at the quotes that have come back from Mario, their managing director, OnApp is ideal at providing a single technology stack for customers, on-premise deployments, and MSP data center deployments. It's a natural fit. It fits perfectly into our picture. And then finally, Robert and Jan, are you in the room? Yeah, well, they were here before. The guys are architects. You probably know Jan and you probably know Robert. And what's interesting about architects is that these guys are actually a consulting company, really high-end consulting. Now, they offer cloud solutions as an MSP, but what they've seen is that they actually trebled their revenue through offering consulting services around helping to take customers from their enterprise to the cloud. And as an MSP, it makes sense to offer on-premise solutions today. So, is it really game over? Do we really see an end to the industry? Is Amazon really going to eat everything? Will we be here next year? We don't think so. But we do all agree it is time to stop playing. And we need to find a new way to sell. And with that, I'd like to invite you to all come to see us at the booth today. We're in the main hall. My name is Alistair. I'm from OnApp. It's been my pleasure to talk to you today.